Hey, we've made it to the 14th episode of the Blackford Book Club. Without an introduction, I'll give you a short story from this morning. As you may have gathered, I've been doing some silly videos, and before them I'm often found sing-songing away to myself, just larking around, and this morning I showed one to my son. Oh blimey, and for 45 seconds I had him. There he was, looking at me, then looking at me in real life like a piece of cheese, then looking back at the video and smiling. He didn't laugh, but he smiled all the way through, and I won't hold the fact he didn't laugh against him. But he smiled, and it was rather lovely. And you just can't put a price on that, can you? You really cannot put a price on that. All rather lovely. Anyway, the final reading, the fifth and final reading, can be found on page 465, headlined, Reds in 7 heaven. Liverpool 7, Manchester United 0. With 15 minutes still to play this evening, the Kop, that mass of footballing humanity behind the goal of Anfield's famed stadium, where I've had the privilege of standing umpteen times in my match-going days, delved into their collective songbook for a tune to mark the occasion. They serenaded their footballing heroes dressed all in red with the old school chant of 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-0, before more old school chants reverberated around the fields of Anfield Road. The Spanish matador cry of "Olé!" surfaced as early as the 50th minute, as Liverpool had swept Manchester United away in just 7 minutes of actual game time either side of half-time and had raced into a 3-0 lead. "Show them the way to go home" soon followed, as Darwin Núñez delicately flicked home his second goal of the game, and after Mo Salah had smashed home an unstoppable volley for his first. I adore the "Show them the way to go home" song, bastardised to reflect on the them, the opposition, and the bedraggled and beaten opposition serenaded, tired and weary, into their beds with a further refrain, "'Cause they're only half a football team compared to the boys in red." As you can tell, boy do I love that song. It's the ultimate song of triumph. The opposition, whomever they shall be, are beaten, humiliated, no chance of a revival, and merely playing out time in utter, abject, embarrassed defeat. Today's defeated Red Devils of Manchester United were described by their legendary ex-defender Gary Neville on TV co-commentary duties as a shambles at 5-0 down, a disgrace at 7-0 down, and unprofessional during his first bout of post-match analysis. I'm sure worse followed and will continue to do so in the coming days, but he reserved his earliest and angriest criticism for United's captain Bruno Fernandes, who, like Luke Shaw in particular, completely lost their heads and their professionalism. While Shaw danced a fine line as he compounded a dreadful performance with some snide and dirty little challenges. Venting his anger at his team's humiliation, Fernandes had all been given up. Unforgivable. Fernandes has long since joined Dennis Wise, Vinnie Jones and Luis Suarez, and please feel free to insert your own Hall of Fame inductee here, as Premier League footballers who could start a fight in an empty house. I'd call him a namby-pamby fishwife, but then again, that's probably politically incorrect. Then again, so is beating Manchester United 7-0. The rub is that Manchester United were arguably ahead on the judges' scorecard at half-time, and although unfortunate to trail 1-0, it was the first of a catalogue of self-inflicted errors and dreadful defensive mistakes pounced upon by a rampant, eager Liverpool. The Reds dominated the first 20 minutes, although the visitors had the only shot of merit on target in this period through Brazilian winger Antony on 9 minutes. United simply hadn't started and were wasteful in possession before retreating in defence deeper inside their own half. I then saw a slightly wilting and leggy, how wrong could I be, Red team surrender both the ball and control of the game to their visitors along the East Lancs Road. United created 3 genuine goal-scoring chances in just 6 minutes, the first of which a sweeping move, but after a dreadful elbow of a foul on Mo Salah, that saw Mr. Popular himself, Bruno Fernandes, diving to head mere inches wide of a gaping goal when he should have scored. Casemiro did score 3 minutes before the break, but this was rightly disallowed for the obvious offside, but his team were well on top. But however, Diego Dallo and Fred then switched off, self-inflicting their first error of a comedy that was sure to follow, and Cody Gakpo then curled a beauty of a goal past an unsighted David De Gea on the cusp of the half-time break. It was a gem of a finish from the young Dutchman, the result of a defence-splitting inside pass from the captain of Scotland, Andy Robertson, keep still my beating heart, and in the face of stiff opposition, today's man of the match for his industrious display. Flawless defensively, always looking to attack and spread the play, it was a remarkable performance. As was that pass for Gakpo's brilliantly taken goal. A comedy of errors would then soon follow. If Darwin Núñez' second goal, Liverpool's fifth, and the occasion once more for the Kop to serenade their visitors and show them the way to go home, was a brilliantly instinctive striker's goal, a leaping flicked header into the corner of the United net. His first goal inside 2 minutes in the second half was a poacher's effort he simply couldn't miss, and United were already on their way to a soon-to-be-described Gary Neville shambles. First, Luke Shaw simply surrendered possession to Harvey Elliott before Wout Weghorst, Casemiro and Raphael Varane all tamely dithered with limp challenges for a loose ball approaching their own penalty area before a Fabinho chipped pass led to another Luke Shaw mistake and Núñez simply couldn't miss from Harvey Elliott's drilled cross. Mo Salah will have undoubtedly been a resounding choice by many as today's man of the match, and the somewhat absent Egyptian king of late is now back. And now ahead of God, Robbie Fowler, as the Reds' all-time goal scorer in the Premier League. That very goal, Liverpool's sixth, owed a little more to the self-inflicted calamities happening elsewhere inside the Manchester United penalty area as Luke Shaw once more crashed a hurried and panicked clearance against Roberto Firmino straight into the path of a gleeful Salah. Trent Alexander-Arnold placed an invisible crown atop the Egyptian king's head, now bare-chested to the Kop, who so adore him, ripped like a lightweight boxer as he punched out the lights of Manchester United once more. God himself later tweeted his appreciation of Salah, sitting in the stands named after him high in the main stand, though I doubt even God himself would have celebrated bare-chested in front of the Kop. If 6-0 up and 5 goals in front of the Kop wasn't perfect enough, then imagine the sloppy rebound from Scott McTominay that presented Mo Salah his record-equalling goal earlier, and a ferocious right-foot volley that flew past the flailing David De Gea, or the brilliant Brazilian magician in the number 9 shirt. His exuberant celebration reflected all around these glorious fields of Anfield Road as 6-0 became 7-0 and the Reds in 7th heaven. Roberto Firmino, the glue, creative force of footballing nature and first line defence of the Reds for 8 seasons, is now soon to depart for footballing futures anew. It will pain me to see Bobby in somebody else's shirt, but he leaves with the love he'll return with one day as a club legend. Rather fond was our Bobby of taking his shirt off, especially after a game-winning goal, or to crown his team as Club World Champions of the World in 2019. But, talking of perfection, I'll leave you with this. Picture everyone's favourite Mr. Popular, the starter of fights in an empty house, and namby-pamby fishwife Bruno Fernandes, the ball at his feet, from a short corner, on 50 minutes, the score 2-0. His cross into the penalty area is a lame one, straight to the feet of Jordan Henderson, who calmly controls the ball, looks up and slides a perfect pass into the starting runner Cody Gakpo. The Red skipper was imperious today in a performance that will be overlooked, as is the fact he started the ball rolling for 2 of the Reds' goals and eerily both from a similar position on the field, but no matter. The ball was now at the flying feet of Mo Salah, who approached the usually impressive Lisandro Martinez, but today, and especially now, Salah made a mockery of him as he, in the footballing vernacular, turned him inside out before deliciously putting him on his backside as he played a sublime inside ball to the still running Cody Gakpo. With David De Gea racing from his line, the young Dutchman simply dinked an exquisite first-time beauty into the far corner of the Manchester United net, and they're tearing Manchester United apart here. Yes, they were, Mr. TV commentary man. Yes, they were. So that brings us to the end of the 5 episodes coming from my self-published book on Liverpool. And I really hope you've enjoyed them. If you have, like and subscribe and all that stuff. And there'll be links below, and I'll just end by saying thanks very much for taking the ride. Thanks for following me along this strange journey. And I'll leave you with peace. And thank you very much for watching.